Silicon Valley is an elevator of ambitions, is an elevator of open-mindedness, let's call it that way. And that's why I believe that after spending some time over here, you will be a different person. And any time that I come over here, I think I've never been a resident in Silicon Valley. I come over probably, I did the math, 150 times. And anytime I come over, 3 months later, 2 months later, 1 week later, I find a different place. And that's Silicon Valley. Why this place is unique in the world. And so you can see this is the history of Silicon Valley as of last September, and probably we need to update the slide. And you can see one thing that is probably very, very peculiar of this place. That is, this place has originated at least 10 industrial revolutions. It is the only place in the world that has been able to innovate radically industries and destroy industry at such a fast pace. You know about everything started with tons of investment into the defense. Today, defense tech is, by the way, is a big topic. Assign two words, two words. Number one is defense tech. Number one is dual-use technologies. Technology might have civil and military use. Unfortunately, this is the hot part that is coming tomorrow. And so, by the way, this place started with tons of defense investments back in the 30s, the 40s. Before that, there were just orchards and people farming. And by the way, it's the same origin of Israel, the other tech valley in the world that is Israel, right? So defense investment, that brings a lot of top-level science. Top-level science is a good base for spanning out knowledge and spanning out companies. And so you see that those kind of investment, they started a new industry, these integrated circuits, back in the 60s. You have, Fabrizio was mentioning HP, Palo Alto, you can go and see the garage, it's still there. Intel. By the way, in 1975, a new industry has been originated here by Kleiner Perkins, as is the venture capital industry. So it started from here. And then in the 80s, there's been a new industrial revolution, the one of the personal computers. Apple, Adobe, Cisco, just to name a few. Then we go to the 90s, what Fabrizio was mentioning. The internet revolution started from here. eBay, Google, Yahoo. And by the way, Google is a spin-off of a university called Stanford. Yahoo, same thing. PhD students turned into entrepreneurs. And then 2000, we have the mobile and the cloud revolutions. Again, Apple, the new Apple, coming in, Salesforce, Stripe, just to give you a few names. Social media revolution started in around 2010, 2005, 2010. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Zynga. And then 2020, we were talking about AI. We were talking about AI, the regular one, robotics, mobility, genomics, started from here. And then today we're talking about generative AI, generative AI, generative AI. And what happens here is that there is a sort of way of thinking that doing something new is more interesting than continuing to keep up what is working. The word is called disruption. Disrupting things, breaking things is the actual things that actually is the common denominator of this place. People like to break things. They don't care about rules. They don't care about something that is working. They are more excited to destroy, break it, and start from scratch. That's the way you have to look at Silicon Valley. It's a continuous way. And what are the reasons behind? There is definitely top-level universities, Stanford, Berkeley, just to name a few. We have the VC industry, so finance that is close by, is interested, is working close by to the academia. That's something that is not working in Europe. If you look at the data of academic spin-off, spun out from university, close to zero. While here, the most interesting companies are coming out from the university. If you go to the university, the first thing that your professor asks for signing for a PhD is, okay, what's the value of doing this? What's the business behind this? In Europe, they don't even know what we're talking about, right? And there are something that called technology transfer offices that are done by people that have been working in the VC industry. There are former entrepreneurs. If you go in Europe, you have these tech TO offices that are done by administrative people that have no clue what these things are about. And the fourth component, I believe, is the companies that become large companies and they start acquiring other companies. There is one slide.
Ce l'ho io,
Go. Skip it. Just to tell you, talking about AI, this is the data. Unfortunately, we have to redo the slides every 3 months because they totally changed. But substantially, keep in mind that Silicon Valley is the place with the largest concentration of venture capital investment in the world. And we have done an analysis of all the venture capital investment in Silicon Valley. And we noticed that September last year, $1 out of 2 coming from VC pockets were actually going to generative AI. Now imagine what is the fastest. Next. This is important to tell you the size of the game. Why Silicon Valley? Why you are here, you're not in Italy? This is the number of startups that raise at least $1 million. We call them scale-ups, okay? This is the number of startups that raise at least $100 million. We call them scalers. This is the number of scale-ups that raise at least $1 billion. We call them super scalers. Unicorns are being valued $1 billion. Raising $1 billion is more than being valued $1 billion, okay? This is the capital for line that has been cumulatively raised by all of them. And this is just to give you some comparison with the size of the ecosystem, number of scalers per 100,000 inhabitants, and capital raised overall on the GDP of the country of the region we're talking about. So in Italy, that is a nice place to live, good food, phenomenal stuff. We have 500-something scale-ups. Of them, just less than 20 were able to raise more than 100 million. None of them raised 1 billion. Cumulatively talking about 7 billion something. Cumulative raise. Germany is 3 times, France is 3-4 times. We're talking about from 7 billion investment, we're talking about 50 to 70 billion cumulative, okay? But again, neither France nor Germany are serial innovation producer. You cross the channel, you go to UK 4,500 scale-ups, 17 super scalers able to raise 1 billion, cumulative we're talking about $135 billion sizing. And then you cross the Atlantic, you go to the US and you see that in here, that is 40 miles from San Francisco to San Jose, drive the 101 south, you find a number of scale-ups that are exactly the same one that you can find in the entire Europe. And they are being able to raise capital that is 3 times the one that has been raised by all the countries in Europe. So if you ask you why, you have your answer, right? The other place that is comparable in terms of size of the country and the ability to produce innovation is Israel. Israel, we're talking about 3,000 scale-ups out of 7-8 million population. Everywhere in the world is not happening. So just to give you the sense why here, again, data. Anytime that you think about something, think about, okay, what are data supporting what I'm thinking or not? Next. You can skip it. This is just to show you that it's not just Silicon Valley, but Silicon Valley is actually, I think, 1/4 of all the venture capital invested in the US is here. The other big place is New York, that is close by to Boston, so this is another important cluster. LA is relevant, and there are some other things that are popping out. Seattle is coming out. This is the Texas. A lot of people have moved from Texas for tax reasons, out of Silicon Valley, so around Austin mostly, but also Texas is coming out something. Atlanta, Chicago, but again, the real place to do things is over here in terms of concentration, because again, if you move on my radius, you can find a lot of stuff. Next. This is what I told you before. Why? We don't know. We believe that is knowledge combined to an entrepreneurial thinking, the garage culture, plus financial market. Again, the good thing is that if you are a startup, you raise money, you buy other startups because you want to grow faster and faster and faster. That's the mentality. Because there is a big value that any opportunity has a limited amount of time. And so you need to go faster to cross the opportunity. And so they are buying. And so continually buying startups, and they are being startup acquirers like the Google of the world, the Apple of the world. They buy startups. I'm not just talking about the WhatsApp acquisition, 19 billion. I'm talking about they're buying startups, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, 5 million. And again, there is a beautiful interview with Mark Zuckerberg, and someone asked him, why you are buying all these startups? He said, well, actually, I don't really care about the technology, the product that they have. Most of the time we trash them, but we care about the people because we are too old to innovate. It was 2013, and Facebook has been founded in 2005. So substantially it's acquiring, you acquire talents, you bring people in. You keep something that they've done, and then you trash everything. So this is the component. Next, sorry. This is the mentality, again, dynamic. One thing that is very important is that I think it happens so fast. You go into meetings with people, the people take meetings, they give you 15 minutes or 15 minutes. So arrive on time, leave on time. They give you an opportunity, but don't keep them waiting and don't go beyond the allotted time that they gave you. That is important. And for us Europeans, it's a bit difficult to understand. After the meeting, typical, you send an email to say, okay, thank you for the time. This is the next things that we can do together. So it's very, very dynamic. They understand risk. They eat risk for breakfast. They understand failure, for which I told you. And then they think big. The fixed cost for doing something that has a potential face value of $1 billion and something that has a potential face value of $1 million is the same. There's some hard work. So start thinking something that has a potential of being big rather than something that is micro. Next. Again, this is, we can skip it. We can definitely skip it, super skip it. This is if you want to download some report. And then just to show you, this is all data. We are putting together some new data for a summit that we're organizing in 3 weeks from now. Told you which are the top acquirer in the world of startups. Again, we are redone the analysis. The names are almost the same. So now you're talking about Google, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, Accenture, Cisco, Yahoo, Oracle. These data are 10 years old. When you see in 3 weeks, the new data will be similar. So just to give you a sense, Google typically buy a startup every 10 days. And keep in mind that for signing a term sheet for an acquisition below 100 million, a VP can do that. And obviously that's create a dynamic. You build a company here, you make it larger, and you sell it. The VC that are behind you, they get out of the money and they reinvest. And the wheel of innovation go faster, faster, and faster, and faster, and faster. In Europe, you invest money into startups, the money got stuck, they are not exiting. The VC after 5 years, they've invested everything. They have no track record to raise another funds. They remain without money. They are just having a professional, I'm a VC, you're interested in investing, and we're still fundraising. They will keep up fundraising because nobody give them $1 because they can show a track record of exits and results and return of capital, and everything got stuck. In here, the money continues to return, and the wheel of innovation goes faster and faster. And that's the reason why industries come and got disrupted, new industries arise. So that's something to give you the sense of how does it work things over here.